Okay, good morning. Okay, good morning. Today's topic is environmental challenge. Right. This lesson comes under reading comprehension, and this is a second semester lesson. The objectives of this lesson are read the lesson, understand the passage related to the environment. This passage is related to the burning topic and environmental challenges. What are the challenges we face in the field of environment? How to redress them? How to address them? How to find a solution uh, for these problems related to environment? So a beautiful passage is given. So the teacher will read the passage and explain the passage, the difficult words, phrases, expressions. The students have to listen to the lecture and passage, look at the passage and try to understand the passage. Actually, this is a practice passage. In the examination, the students will have to read an unseen passage. The students will have to read the unseen passage and understand the language and content in that unseen passage. And after that, the student has to answer the questions that follow the passage. The questions will be on content, the questions will be on the vocabulary, the questions will be on different expressions used in the passage. Answer the questions set on the passage. At the end of the passage, the students have to answer questions. These questions are some are very simple questions, some are average questions, some are difficult questions. Some of the questions which the students don't find answer in the passage. Such questions are called inferential questions. They have to infer the answer based upon the given passage, and they have to give the answer. So, different types of questions will be set at the end of the passage. And understand the vocabulary related to the environment. This is a new passage, and in this passage, the field of the passage is environment. So the students will come across the jargon, the words related to uh, the environment, related to some science, technology. So they have to understand the words related to this subject topic field, and they have to answer uh, the, they have to answer the question. Next, get the awareness on the topic environment. So there is a subject probably in the diploma that is on environment. One of the semesters there is a subject on environment. The purpose of introducing this subject and all branches of students, all streams of engineering students have to read this subject commonly, because every student has to get certain amount of awareness about the environment, because this is a very crucial and very burning topic, burning issue in the world right now. So, as a responsible future citizens of India, uh, what will be your contribution to uh, keep the environment from further degradation, and how to uh, bring back the environment to its pristine glory? That is the challenge for the students and also the teachers. That's why, so we have to read the passage, appreciate the passage, understand the message given by the passage, and we have to follow solutions provided in this passage to protect the environment. So the objectives are: read, understand the passage related to the environment, answer the questions set on the passage, understand the vocabulary related to the environment, get the awareness on the topic environment. So these are the questions. These are the objectives. So let us see the pre-reading, the text of previous knowledge, the warming up activity. The first question is, the first question in this category is, what would you do with your outdated mobile, computer, or printer? What would you do? So the question will answer will vary from student to student. So generally, we if the if if it is if the gadget is in working condition, we give it to our friends, the needy people. Otherwise, we throw them away, or we sell them to people who buy such things. So some people, students may answer, I would recycle my outdated mobile, computer, printer, laptop, or any other electronic device. To recycle, you must be very creative. So generally, the tendency is we sell off, we throw them away in the garbage. Like that. What are the side effects of used and unwanted electronic gadgets? Side effects of used unwanted gadgets is they pollute the environment because they release gases because of the plastic used in them. They pollute the environment. Electronic gadgets, if not recycled properly, will emit dangerous gases and toxins that causes harm to the environment. If they are not recycled, they will probably pollute the environment by releasing the poisonous gases and toxins. Third question is, how can we permanently get rid of used and unwanted electronic gadgets? What is the strategy to get rid of used and unwanted gadgets permanently? So, answer is, unwanted electronic gadgets can be recycled and reused. They can be recycled and reused. This is one of the most creative solutions to this problem. The gadgets can also be donated to a charitable organization for refurbishment. So such gadgets can be uh, given to NGOs, charitable organizations. They will refurbish such gadgets and they will provide them to the needy people. Next question is, what is the word to describe unwanted and dumped electronic gadgets? So The unwanted dumped electronic gadgets are called environmental waste. And what is its short form? Short form is e-waste. Short form is e-waste. E stands for electronic waste. These are the questions. We also provide answers. What would you do with your outdated mobile, printer, or laptop, etc.? So try to recycle them so that we can avoid environmental pollution. What are the side effects of used unwanted electronic gadgets? They emit poisonous gases and toxins into the environment. How can we permanently get rid of used and unwanted electronic gadgets? So we can recycle them, we can refurbish them so that we can permanently get rid of unwanted electronic gadgets. We can upgrade them, we can repair them, and we can give them to the needy people. What is the word to describe unwanted and dumped electronic gadgets? That is environmental waste. Its short form is e-waste. Now, your teacher will reading the given passage and explaining the concept and the difficult words. Now I will read the lesson. Just listen to the lesson and I will explain the difficult words in the lesson so that you can understand the complete lesson. So that you can understand the complete lesson. The government is considering banning the import of used computers and other electronic waste coming primarily from developed nations such as the USA, Australia, Canada, and parts of Europe. So the government of India is willing or planning to ban the import of used electronic devices, electronic waste primarily coming from developed nations like Australia and USA, Canada, and the other parts of Europe. This is all e-waste. And these developed countries are dumping this e-waste in India. The India has become a dumping ground of e-waste for these developed countries. Right. After several cases of e-waste smuggling came to light recently, many cases were booked. Many cases of e-waste being smuggled into India by sea, by ships. Ships have been confiscated, and the problem, the police, the customs people have lodged cases on this smuggling the e-waste into India. So a decision is likely to be taken at the Economic Intelligence Council meeting scheduled for this month to be chaired by Finance Minister. So, Economic Intelligence Council, it is a council. In the council is chaired by the Finance Minister, and the Finance Minister, after the consultation with the members of that council, he will take a decision to ban the import of e-waste into India. The e-waste issue assumed significance after the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence seized some containers in Chennai containing large quantities of e-waste. So recently, the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence people seized some containers in the ships. So these containers contained e-waste. So these people put some cases. The imports were made despite a prohibitory order. There is a prohibition, an official prohibition for importing electronic waste from other countries. In spite of this prohibition, in spite of this ban, people are smuggling e-waste into India. This is an alarming situation, and it is an issue of high concern. Uh, the half a dozen seized containers were filled with outdated computers, electronic waste. Almost 6 containers full of e-waste. So the containers contained computers, printers, laptops, uh, such things, electronic devices, electrical devices. Uh, almost 6 containers were confiscated. On further investigation, it was found that containers carried hundreds of tons of e-waste sourced from Australia, Canada, Korea, Brunei in violation of norms. So there is a ban from government, prohibition from government. In spite of that prohibition or ban from the side of government, so these containers, these goods, e-waste is smuggled into India. So these ships are coming primarily from Australia, Canada, America, Korea, and Brunei. So they are violating the norms of the government of India. E-waste is being dumped in the country by developing nations using loopholes in domestic rules which allow NGOs and educational institutions to import such gadgets freely on the pretext of donations. So there are some loopholes in the law. What are the loopholes? Loopholes means relaxations on this ban. What are the relaxations? What are the loopholes? Some non-governmental organizations, schools, colleges can import used electronic gadgets to distribute among the poor people, poor students. That is the loophole, that is the relaxation. On the pretext of this loophole, this relaxation, the smugglers are smuggling is e-waste in high quantity into India, and they are refurbishing them and they are selling them to valuable customers. And at the same time, they are also causing a great harm to the environment and to the nation. So this is the big issue to be addressed. Then, conscious of the fact that huge shipments conscious of the fact that huge shipments of e-waste generated in developing countries are finding convenient burial ground in India. So these huge shipments, ships full of containers, ships full of containers, containers full of e-waste, they are coming into India. So India has become a convenient burial ground for the e-waste of developed countries like America, Australia, Canada, Korea, Brunei, like that. The government had through a public notice on May 13, 2000, prohibited educational and other institutions from importing second-hand computers, laptops, and computer peripherals, including printers, plotters, scanners, monitors, keyboards, and storage units. The government of India has issued a circular public notice on May 13, 2000. So in that circular, they clearly stated that the educational institutions are also prohibited from importing the used electronic gadgets from other countries. So what are the electronic gadgets these people are importing from other countries? They are second-hand computers, second-hand laptops, computer peripherals, accessory parts of computers, and including printers, plotters, scanners, monitors, keyboards, and storage units. The step was short of complete ban on such imports. However, it is not complete ban. Still, the non-governmental organizations, some non-governmental organizations have relaxed. So schools and colleges are prohibited from importing uh, these used second-hand electronic gadgets into India. So this step is one step short of complete ban. However, with customers continuing to seize such illegal shipments, it seems the prohibition order has had little impact. The Customs Department is seizing many containers. It means that the prohibition orders do not have any impact on the smugglers, on the people who are importing waste into India. Though the Finance Ministry is in favor of complete ban, the Commerce Ministry does not seem too inclined for such stringent measures. There is a conflict of interests. There is a conflict of opinion. The Finance Ministry is in favor of complete ban, but the Commerce Ministry wants some relaxation to some organizations. Here, this becomes the loophole. This conflict of opinion is favoring the smugglers. At the at the July meeting chaired by the Revenue Secretary, DGFT had mooted the idea of raising vigilance at ports and asking the Customs Department to confiscate such imports of detected instead of complete ban. Revenue Secretary and the Department of uh, related to these issues decided to step up the vigilance at the seashores and ports, asking and also asking the Customs Department to confiscate, uh, take over these containers, ships, if they are detected with, if they are found with this electronic waste. Disposal of e-waste often leads to emission of dangerous gases like in the process of recovery of copper from e-waste, dioxins are released in the environment. So we find copper in the e-waste, the computers, in the laptops, in the hardware parts, there is copper. So they try to extract this copper from this electronic waste. In this process, the poisonous toxic gases are released into the environment. In the process of extracting copper from the computers and laptops, poisonous gases are released into the environment. And toxic cyanide is released in the process of extraction of yellow metal from the electrical waste and computer components. So when the copper is extracted from the electrical waste and electronic waste, so the cyanide, the poison, cyanide is poison, toxin, it is a toxin. It is released into the environment, causing a great harm to the mankind and to the flora and fauna in the environment. It is also causing imbalance in the ecological system. Environmental agencies worldwide estimate dumping size of e-waste in India is likely to go up by 500% in the next 10 years. International environmental agencies estimated that next 10 years, the e-waste will increase in India. The e-waste is not only generated in India, but e-waste is coming from other developed countries into India because the developed countries found it very convenient to dump this e-waste in India because they are taking the help of smugglers, antisocial elements, and they are sending shipments, containers into India. So in the next 10 years, this is going to increase in spite of the prohibitory orders by the government of India, by the Ministry of Finance and Commerce, and the other agencies, Customs Department, etc. In spite of this prohibition ban, the smuggling will increase by 500% according to the international environmental agencies, their estimation, modest estimation. Already, environmental bodies estimate India generates nearly 4 lakh tons of e-waste annually, which is likely to double in the next few years. So, at the time, India is generating 4 lakh tons of e-waste annually. It will double in just few years because the people are using mobile phones, laptops, computers, electrical and electronic tools, equipment, and uh, and these things will be outdated and they will fall into disuse within no time. So they become e-waste, they become burden to the uh, country unless until the country recycles them, reuses them in environmental friendly mode. And the country, however, lacks effective disposable mechanism. So India doesn't have any plan, any strategy to dispose e-waste. Just is not paying serious attention on this problem like the developed countries, America, England, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Korea, Japan, Brunei. These countries, uh, they have some disposable mechanism on the basis of science and technology. But there are two issues. One is the government of India is not understanding the gravity of the problem, the seriousness of the problem. The second is it doesn't have any plan for the disposable, how to dispose this e-waste. So this is the lesson. I will read the lesson. Just listen to this lesson. I read this lesson. Just listen. The government is considering banning the import of used computers and other electronic waste coming primarily from developed nations such as the USA, Australia, Canada, and parts of Europe. After several cases of e-waste smuggling came to light recently. A decision is likely to be taken at the Economic Intelligence Council meeting scheduled for this month to be chaired by Finance Minister. The e-waste issue assumed significance after the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence (DRI) seized some containers in Chennai containing large quantity of such waste. The imports were made despite a prohibitory order in this regard. The half a dozen seized containers were filled with outdated computers and electrical waste. On further investigation, it was found that containers carried hundreds of tons of e-waste sourced from Australia, Canada, Korea, Brunei, in violation of norms. E-waste is being dumped in the country by developing nations using loopholes in domestic rules which allow NGOs and educational institutions to import such gadgets freely on the pretext of donation. Conscious of the fact that huge shipments of e-waste generated in developing countries are finding convenient burial ground in India. The government, uh, the government had, through a public notice on May 13, 2010, prohibited educational and other institutions from importing second-hand computers, laptops, computer peripherals, including printers, plotters, scanners, monitors, keyboards, and storage units. Step was short of a complete ban on such imports. However, with customs continuing to seize such illegal shipments, it seems the prohibition order has had a little impact. Though the finance ministry is in favor of a complete ban, the commerce ministry does not seem too inclined for such a stringent measure. At the July meeting chaired by the Revenue Secretary, DGFT had supported, put forward the idea of raising vigilance at ports and asking the customs department to confiscate such imports if detected, instead of a complete ban. Disposal of e-waste often leads to emission of dangerous gases like in the process of recovery of copper from e-waste. Uh, dioxins are released in the environment. Toxic cyanide is released in the process of extraction of yellow metal from electrical waste and computer components. Environmental agencies worldwide estimate dumping of e-waste in India is likely to go up by 500% in the next 10 years. Already, environment bodies estimate India generates nearly 4 lakh tons of e-waste annually, which is likely to double in the next few years. The country, however, lacks effective disposable mechanism. This is the article by Pradeep Thakur. This article appeared in the Economic Times on 6th September 2010. So this is the passage. I hope you understood the passage. Now let us move to the activity 2. So what is the central idea of the passage? The central idea of this passage is e-waste, environmental waste. India is used as a dumping yard of electronic waste by the developed countries such as USA, Europe, Canada, Australia, Korea, Brunei, etc. Central idea of this passage is e-waste and how the developed countries are using India as a convenient burial ground of their electronic waste. Next, second question. How is e-waste making its way into the country? So, electronic waste is making its way into the country through smuggling. Smugglers are smuggling the containers, shipments of e-waste into India in places in ports like Chennai. They are smuggling. Third question. Why are many countries dumping their e-waste in India? Because there are certain loopholes in our law, in our rules. And these countries are using these loopholes to dump their e-waste into India. USA, Canada, Australia, Korea, Brunei, and Europe are dumping e-waste in India as a route to help charity organizations and educational institutions. Just a pretext. This is just a lame excuse. So the loopholes found in our rules are encouraging those countries to smuggle their e-waste to India. What are the dangers of e-waste? Electronic waste results in emission of poisonous gases like dioxins, and while trying to recover copper from e-waste, further e-waste results in emission of poisonous gases like toxic cyanide while extracting yellow metal from computer components and e-waste. So, what are the dangers? While extracting copper from these peripherals, the components of computers, laptops, and electrical equipment, dioxins are released into environment, and cyanide is released into environment. These two are very dangerous. Okay. Questions are: what is the central idea of the passage? How is e-waste making its way into country? Why are many countries dumping their e-waste in India? What are the dangers of e-waste? So, continuation of fifth question is: add suitable prefixes to the following words. Add suitable prefixes to the following words. What are the words? Conscious, likely, complete, changed, effective, violated, develop, convenient. These are the words. You have to add suitable prefixes to these words. For example, conscious, unconscious, and complete, incomplete, effective, ineffective, developed, underdeveloped, convenient, inconvenient, likely, unlikely, changed, unchanged, violated, inviolated. So these are all prefixes. In, under, these are prefixes. Okay. Next question is sixth question. State whether the given statements are true or false. India is ready with a plan to tackle e-waste. So India is ready with a plan to tackle e-waste. Yes, true. Next, the import of electronic goods may continue in spite of the ban by the government. Yes, true. Next, Seventh question. Continuation. Seventh question. Pick synonyms from the following words from the passage. Strict, excuse, ban, unlawful, poison. Strict related word in the passage is stringent. 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 Next, excuse. The word we find in the passage is pardon. Next, ban. The word we find in the passage is prohibit. Unlawful. The word we find in the passage is illegal. Poisonous. The word we find in the passage is toxins. Toxins are poisonous. Next, eighth question. What do you think will happen if the government completely bans the import of used electronic goods? If the government completely bans the import of used electronic goods, the charitable organizations which are being benefited now will lose the opportunity to get used electronic gadgets. And at the same time, the environmental pollution also will be reduced, and uh, and the damage to the environment will be minimized. Okay, next, explain the phrase came to light. Came to light. Came to light means brought to the notice or come to be known. For example, the smuggling of contraband came to light of the government. The smuggling of goods came to the light, came to the knowledge of the government. Next, activity 3, reference line. The students have to express in favor of using electronic gadgets or reject the use of electronic gadgets. Students from one row or one group of the class come to the board and write their names along the line where they feel they belong. Whether they are in favor of this issue, or whether they are against this, for or against. They take one stand and explain. I will do it for you. For the use of electronic gadgets. For the use of electronic gadgets. Electronic gadgets are useful in various ways, such as in communication. They are useful in communication. Communication has improved with advanced communication technology tools, including electronic mail, mobile fax machines, email, social networking applications, and instant text messaging applications, etc. In the field of entertainment, home entertainment has improved with the invention of video games, advanced music, and visual systems. In the field of education, online education and other learning methods are widely used for the benefit of the students. In the health industry, doctors and hospitals are using latest technology with the help of these computers, electronic devices for the benefit of the patient. So, if one group of students are against taking a stand against, they will speak like this. Electronic gadgets are also means of causing harm in various ways. They are causing unemployment. Modern technology is replacing humans by robots. Because of these electronic devices, the human resources are losing their job. Competency. Students are also negatively affected due to technology advancement. Tools like calculators have reduced creativity because of this easy to use electronic devices. Students are not using their brain. They are not exercising their logical thinking, common sense. So that's why the level of creativity has come down. Destructive weapons. Advanced technology creates war weapons, and weapons cause a destruction to mankind. So this advanced technology are supporting in a way the lethal weapons and advanced technology, and this advanced technology and weapons cause mass destruction. So this is the preference line. Students can speak in favor of this issue, and or they can speak against this issue. Activity 4. Keeping in mind the slogan reduce, reuse, recycle, uh, think of 10 ways you can save the environment, especially keeping in view the problems of e-waste. So reduce using e-waste, reduce using electronic gadgets, reuse the electronic gadgets instead of buying latest electronic gadgets now and then, and recycle them if possible. So how to answer this question? Reusing. Reuse functioning electronic equipment instead of dumping them, instead of buying new ones. Donate e-waste to someone. You can donate e-waste to NGOs, schools. They can refurbish this e-waste and put to use for the needy people. Repairing. Using electronic gadgets after repairing. You can use the electronic gadgets after minor repairs also. Refurbishment. Electronic gadgets should be used after refurbishment, facelift, and changing the outer parts to give a fresh look and repairing the inner parts. Recycling. Recycling peripherals that cannot be repaired. You can recycle peripherals that cannot be, they are beyond repair. Reducing. Electronic gadgets, electrical gadgets usage should be reduced. Reduced to some extent. Recovering. Electronic gadgets are recovered. Use only the required gadgets. Don't unnecessarily buy electronic or electrical gadgets. Upgrade the gadgets. You can upgrade the gadgets also. Gifting the peripherals to a charitable organization. You can also gift these electronic gadgets to the charitable organizations. The assignment, there are two assignments. First one is describe the type of electronic waste in your surroundings, environment. How do you plan to reduce a note of this? How would you spread awareness on disposal and recycling of electronic waste? This is the educating the people, students, target group, the people who are using electronic and electrical equipment. Mostly, we have to target them and we have to educate. So this is the lesson, environmental challenge. So in this lesson, we examine one issue of e-waste. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this lesson.